Welcome to the Guitar Show. Goose here, and today we're going to be talking about Dumbles and Dumble clones, and why, in my humble opinion, for me, it's probably my favourite amp. I think it's the most versatile amp, certainly the most useful amp in many different aspects. It might not be the best amp in the world, it might not be the best amp for you, but I personally think that this is an amp that's kind of sometimes overlooked as a great blues guitar amp. And really, when I think Dumble had the first kind of concept of especially the Overdrive special, you know, it's really taking that kind of overdriven tweed sound and putting it into a box that you could kind of manipulate and have the versatility and the power, really, that maybe a tweed amp, or at least a small tweed amp, wouldn't have. So I think that was the original design brief by Dumble. So when I was like 17, I think it was like 1992, you could do the maths if you want to know how old I am. But anyway, there was 2 albums that I managed to get hold of. And bear in mind, there was no internet at that time, so you had to go into a record store. And CDs, I think, had not been out long. But anyway, I had Talk to Your Daughter by Robin Ford and Texas Flood by, of course, Stevie Vaughan. And these 2 albums, I didn't realise at the time, but they both featured Dumble amplifiers as part of, you know, the rigs of these 2 guys. And just phenomenal guitar playing, both very, very different. One was one side of the spectrum, one was the other. Beautiful, pristine, quality guitar tones, you know, unlike anything you'd heard, you know, up till that time. So this thing here is basically a replica of Robin Ford's amplifier. I mean, cosmetically, you can see it's pretty much the same, even with the green little knobs here and the green lights. And at the time, in 2001, his amp was covered in black toilets, so you can see that this is, even down to the look of it, it's try to be like a kind of a replica of his amplifier. Let's have a look at a few tones now, and let me just explain what's so good about these amps. First of all, you've got basically 4 tones here. So you've got this great chimey, clean sound. You know. Really good for chordal playing, and you can just hear that shimmer on the chords. It's got a kind of crystalline sound. It's not 100% clean. If you play some other amps, they can get cleaner than this, but this is going to stay clean right up at high volumes. You know, Stevie Vaughan actually used an Overdrive special early on in his career. It didn't really sort of fit well with his style, because you do have to be a little bit sensitive on this preamp volume here, and just wherever you set it, you know, if you're going to put it up here, it's going to break up more. I tend to have it around here about, you know, between 10 and 11 o'clock, and that does me. And then we got some presence. We can push this up. So it's a very kind of a sort of a hi-fi sort of sound, and you just got that really beautiful crystal. Really pop the strings. So it really reacts well to how you pick it and your sort of touch sensitivity. And I have a very heavy hand when I play electric guitar because I came from kind of a blues acoustic guitar earlier in my career. So I'm quite heavy-handed, and fortunately Tommy's modded this amp especially for, so here it's probably less sensitive than a normal amp of this kind would be. I'm using 11 gauge strings. Normal person would use 10. I say normal, but you know what I mean. So there's less volume going into the amp. So he's kind of tweaked it a little bit for me. I'm a more of aggressive player, I'd say, on my attack, and that amp sort of can handle it, That's really cool. Then you got this kind of boost. So this is a clean with a boost on it. EQ section out of the amplifier. So it's passing the EQ section. And again, you can get some really, you could like solo this. You'd only need 2 sort of sounds if you're doing a gig. Ron Ford, a lot of the times he'd be on his Telecaster with the boost on for his soloing. You can go on the back pickup here. So you can see there, so it kind of barks at you and it's got a bit of bite. Then we've got the Overdrive. And there you can see you've got all this kind of really amazing harmonics. You can, this is kind of like the Robin Ford classic. And you've got this kind of note flip and bloom and harmonic stuff going on. And that's where Dumble was famously quoted in saying the crystal lattice quote, because he's trying to explain how he's smoothing out this kind of distortion, which could sound horrible, but with these amps he's kind of refined that, by putting in different resistor values, whatever, on the preamp circuit board, just to smooth that overdrive, so you get this beautiful singing harmonic rich overdrive. So this is where you can use it. Say this sound here, which is just on my first overdrive, because you've got an overdrive, you've got preamp boost, which we're going to look at in a minute. But just on this, you can play some really kind of like North Mississippi style blues or lowdown blues, just. So it doesn't have to be this kind of modern Larry Carlton, fusion-y blues. It can do all the sort of North Mississippi. So you got all that sort of real tweedy sort of overdriven sounds, which somebody like Ben Harper, where he plays Ben Harper, I've noticed he doesn't use any reverbs or delays on his lap steel sound, and he gets this beautiful dry punchy sort of clean sound, which is fantastic. Let's take a sip of coffee here because this is the coffee chat. Right, so that's what's I really like about it, is sort of sometimes overlooked, this quite tweedy sort of thing. there you go. You've got this, you know, lots of versatility there. And you can have, if we're going to put the preamp boost here now, and this is where you're going to get that really sort of sweet singing sustain. I'm going to take we're going to use the cap inside here, and we're going to take that tone control a little bit down, just take the edge off. And let's take the level down to 12 o'clock, and let's push this drive up. So we've got these two on the mid. Okay, so we've changed guitars to an SG now, and we're going to just see how this guitar will really push this amplifier into sustain. So we've got the preamp boost, we've got the overdrive, and we'll just pretty much drive out at 12 and level at 12. So let's just go for this. So you can see there it's going into a full kind of bloom, you know, it's going into feedback, and that note will just go on forever. So there you go, you've got this really sort of overdriven sound that sustains, beautiful, it's like a violin, you know, and with the humbuckers, it's a match made in heaven there. Let's try it with a Strat. Okay guys, so we're going to use this Overdrive Special clone to see if we can get kind of a Lenny sound. Now, those guys that know about Stevie Vaughan know that he plays a steel string singer, but early on in his career, I think on his first tour to Europe, he used an Overdrive Special amplifier. Now one way you can actually get that kind of close to that tone, in my opinion, you can put your presence up a little bit. You can also go from rock to jazz mode, although it's called blues on a Mystic Blues amp. So I'm going to switch that down. But I'm also going to just show you, let's put the volume up a little bit. I'm going to show you without the preamp boost and then with the preamp boost, okay? So let's just check this out. Here we go. Okay, so let's put that preamp boost because it's kind of brought the volume quite down and it sounds a little bit thin. So let's try it with the preamp boost. Of this more sort of hard-hitting steel string singer sound, which is more like a strong Fender twin amplifier, if I could sort of describe it. And so that's where the kind of versatility comes in. You can see that you can get from all these kind of different tones. It doesn't just have to be that one sort of fusion-y blues sound. It can be, you know, your Tweedy sound, your more open, big, fat Stevie Vaughan sound. You can get your Robin Ford, beautiful, clean sounds. For now, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. It's been Goose here, Coffee Chat. God bless, take care, and see you soon.